Good morning, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut here with Bobby Atkins, and this is the veteran version of Real Estate Jerky. How's it going, Bobby?
Pretty good, man. Had a great night's sleep, so
That's good. That's always good.
I'm energized. Yeah.
There's sometimes I don't. Once I started becoming the president of Rotary, the first month I didn't sleep the night before. You're like, what if I wake up late? Yeah. What if this happens? And you have a horror. Yeah. And then now it's like, who cares if I make it?
Yeah. It's like when you're getting up early to catch a flight. Like you're so nervous you're going to sleep through your alarm. You just don't sleep at all.
I don't have that problem with that.
Yeah.
It was just this because everybody's, that who cares? You can always extend it, move it or whatever. But if you don't show up as the president for Rotary for your morning meeting, it could be a problem.
Yeah. Y'all meet early too, right?
Well, our meeting starts at 7. Mm-hmm. Most people get there between 6:30 and 6:45 and then have breakfast and then the meeting starts.
Gotcha.
So, but we're out of there by 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I make sure we're out of there before 8 o'clock
yeah.
and no later. Yeah. We've had some presidents of the past. It's like 8:20, 8:15. Dude, I got to get to work.
Yeah. I was going to say people schedule their days around times, right?
Yeah. So that's why I'm like,
especially in this business.
First week was he's militant.
Yeah.
Well, I am prior military and I care about your time. So that's why if you want to call me that's fine. Yeah. And it's like, no, I had an hour and a half to get done in an hour. So I was like, okay, boom. And then from now on, I'm going to tell everybody first meeting, last meeting, figure that we're going to be here till 8:15, 8:20, no matter who it is, because there's just too much to put in there.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Yesterday was 9/11. Don't forget about that. That's huge.
Yeah.
It's like Veterans Day. People just think about it once a year. You should think about it all the time.
Yeah. Well, so like I have kids that this seems like, it was World War II, right? Like it seems like so far away ago that you can't remember. And, it just, everyone has that memory and anyone who was around, right? Like people like my grandparents and stuff like that. I remember where I was and what I was doing when Kennedy was assassinated. And so that's my generation's,
I was like, you weren't even alive then.
I said grandparents. But it's like, man, it's such a trip to thinking that that's 22 years ago now.
Right. Well, it's just like Ronald Reagan when he was shot at and that hit Brady. Right. And then they came up with the Brady bill and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of people, what? That was in the 80s, and so a lot of people don't remember that, but some people do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing about him, the next time there was another, like a backfire or whatever, and he went and ducked and he goes, you missed me again. Ronald Reagan was one of the funniest presidents we've ever had.
Oh,
and
yeah. He was witty.
Oh, yeah. He was quick-witted. I mean, he was really quick-witted. And you watch some of those memes. I don't care how you care about whether you party or whatever. He was funny. I don't care. He was really funny. Yeah.
Man, I don't want to misquote it because it was so good. But they were having a debate and they were asking if he was too old. And he said basically he didn't want to denigrate his opponent for their lack of experience.
That's right. Yeah. The caucus, I think.
Yeah. And he was cracking up, he's like, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't take it just because he's so young.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. Then there was another one where he was talking about, they were like, do you take any responsibility for the current economic situation that's going on right now? And he goes, yes, because I voted in the past Democrat a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, we got to have a statesman like that again.
We do. We need somebody like that.
Yeah.
Somebody who's quick-witted, who cares about the United States and not just cares about certain people's policies.
Yeah.
And again, if you look at people buying up real estate, buying up stuff, you got BlackRock and a lot of it. If you look at the LLCs local, they all go back to that. And people
That's
go,
crazy.
Who cares? Dude, they're trying to make it Pottersville. I don't care who you are and where you are. You want to afford. The purpose in this world, in our life, is to have a great life. We all signed on the bottom line to protect this country, and it needs to get back to patriotism and back to that kind of stuff. And I don't want to get my flag out and start waving it, but it's important.
It's behind you, man. So you don't even have to wave it.
There we go. But I'm just saying it's important that we get back to, and we need to get a government who's back, who cares about us. This is, I've said this before. Rambo said it best in one of his movies, John Rambo, when he says, when the guy says, what do you want, John? He goes, I want what everybody else who came over here and spilled their guts for this country want. I want my country to love me as much as I love it. Well, first of all, that'll never happen, right? Because we care more about this country than the government's going to care about us. Yeah.
Jeez, yeah.
But the biggest, most important thing is we can all be together and help each other out. And that's what I'm trying to get at. We need to help each other. One of the things I have started this year and last year because of Helping the Brave, which is Challenge 22, to reach out to 22 veterans a week. And if you don't have 22 veterans a week, reach out to all the ones you know, and then reach out to another, whatever that number is, of people, just to see how they're doing. We've never been in this situation with this much inflation, and or we're at the worst amount of locks for loans in 40 years.
Yeah.
So meaning that the volume, affordability is the worst it's been in 40 years. Inflation's the worst it's been in 42 years. All these 40-year things, they're consistent now because of who's running this country. And I'm not saying standing for takeover. I'm just saying we need to make some changes. Elections coming up. And maybe this time somebody will come in and say, this needs to stop, because if they don't stop it, it's going to get worse. We're going to be 1980 again, which we don't want.
Yeah. And, you know, going back to BlackRock, right? And I think Vanguard is big time holder, right?
There's like 3 of them, but those are the 2 top that they're in everything.
Yeah. So my broker, one of my brokers was telling me that a year and a half ago, he was seeing people from BlackRock down at the auctions, right? So it's just weird hearing about like this, you know, this $1 trillion corporations out here in Modesto buying up land too and properties. So
they're buying them everywhere.
Yeah, it's just
everywhere they can get their hands on, because they know if they can control that, they can control not population, but people have to rent. They're stuck using them. They have to do stuff, and they want that.
Yeah, and I have some buyers that I've been working with for quite a while, and I'm just like, you know, they kind of they feel like right now is not the time, and I'm like, I'm trying to explain to people, like, years from now, the inventory is going to be so tight because they're going to have all these properties that you're going to keep as permanent rentals. Yeah. So your option is to move or become independently wealthy so you can buy some land and build your own home.
Basically, it's not going to get any better right now. I ran the numbers, and inventory right now, we're looking at, let me pull it up and see here. For the week ending, all right. Oh, that's last year. Sorry. So basically this week, September 1st through September 8th last week, our inventory only rose to 508,000. So rose from 508,813 to 509,156. And you're thinking, is this in California? This is nationwide.
That's wild.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is what it was this week a year ago. Right. So we went from 552 to 547. And people go, what does that mean? What is a big deal? Same week in 2015, we had 1.195 million on the market. Not
100, 200,000.
Right.
Nationwide.
And a lot of people thought there was a lot of inventory on the market last year in 2022. The bottom number for the for the worst week was 240,000 nationwide. That's how bad it was. So we're up from that, but we're still really bad. In 2003, the worst so far, the peak for inventory, I should say, not the worst, but the peak so far is 509,156. What is it? That's just, that's actually this week. So we've actually peaked in inventory last week, which usually means that we're at the peak of the summer months, and we're going to go down from there. But,
especially for those parts of the country, you know, where weather affects the market drastically, right? Like the foothills and back in Northeast, places like that.
But I'm thinking we're never, ever going to see this again, and we're going to be stuck with these numbers.
Yeah, which is only going to make it more and more competitive. So.
Right. Well, and then the only way to get out of it is new home sales.
Yeah.
Well, they're not building those. Wait till BlackRock takes that over.
So I think I was telling you last week, I went to this new little development. It's like 24 homes, and they tried to squeeze as much as they could in this one spot, and it wasn't single family homes. It was duplex. You know, and
where they at? We're in Modesto.
It's in Riverbank.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, $370,000 for an 1,100 square foot duplex. That's wild, man.
Well, somebody just listed one I saw came on the market. I think it was 500 for 1,500 or 1,400 square feet. You know what I mean? It's So that's where it's at, and it's not going to get better. So how do you afford these homes as as a couple or a single people with no kids, and you're buying a 3-bedroom, 2-bath? What do you do? And I've seen some videos where people say, well, we'll rent out a room or buy a duplex and rent out the other side, or a triplex, whatever. That's great. But now you've created one more problem for them. how do they get that person, or do they want that person full time in their house? And I talked about this before. Realtor.com has a program now. You can put in there, and then you can go right inside there to Airbnb and see what you can rent the rooms for.
Yeah.
Right. And rent them to travel nurses or travel doctors, different clientele. They need them, 3 days a week at $200. That's $600. You can do enough in a couple weeks for half your mortgage, and only have them be there 6 to 7 days a month.
Yeah. So I have two neighbors, one across from me, one right next to me. The one across the street, they had an upstairs bedroom. They were able to do a separate entrance and put a bathroom in there, and they've had great success. They have consistently have travel nurses, and they're there for 3 months. And most travel nurses work nights, and they work 12 hours, and they're in a city where they know nobody. So they basically
no partying.
They work and sleep. Yeah.
Right. And you don't have to worry about them going, can I pay half the rent this month? Because I don't have it. What I'm getting at is people are looking for ways to buy a home that they can't afford, right? They can afford it, but them personally think they can't.
They call it home hacking, right?
That's the dumbest thing. I'm sorry. It's home hacking. It's not really. It's called renting.
Yeah.
But that's why one of my videos on TikTok went viral. Over 700 and some thousand now. And it's because in the term was house hack.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just throw that in every video.
Yeah. It's trending. So hey, sometimes you got to play the game, right?
Yeah. And it worked. But what I'm getting, this is the easiest. What I'm looking at is people are like, okay, how do I afford this? I don't have a bunch of kids yet. I don't have a bunch of this. Until you get used to that payment or used to it, even if you don't have a separate entrance, you still have travel nurses, like you said, works at night. So they leave in the evening and come back in the morning and go to bed.
Yeah.
And get up for a couple hours, eat, and do the same thing over again for 3 months. And then they leave.
Yeah. Now, both my neighbors are retired couples, and kids are married and out of the house. Not my kids. So,
well, that's different.
They have four.
What about that
four
room
kids next door?
And you also have grandma or somebody living with you too, right?
Yeah. Granny lives in the guest house.
Yeah. So someday.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That'd be a weird feeling to have a stranger in the backyard.
Have them come in their own entrance and just gate it off.
Yeah, I guess.
Put a fence up so they come in that way. That's their room, and that's where they come out, and they go out the other side.
I could figure out a way.
I'm sure you could. It's about making money and surviving.
Yeah,
you could do. If there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at, there's ways to help you afford these payments in this market, because you're never going to get back to these prices.
Well, yeah. So I remember when we bought the house we're in right now, I was like, I got approved for almost the max, right? And I'm like, man, I can't believe that I'm going to have a mortgage payment of, $1,600. Right. But obviously wages went up, and I got a pay raise, and everything was fine, and it worked out. So I know where people are at right now. And I know they're thinking like, man, that mortgage payment, that's just unsustainable. But you know what? Wages and everything like that are going to go up too. Like you said, you can always go out and get a better job. Housing is not going to be something that's going to be security in the future from everything we're seeing.
What do you mean security?
It's not going to be one of those things like, oh yeah, once I turn a certain age and I get married, we buy a house, and then now we know we have this house, a steady payment. Like you said, there's so many investors buying up as much as they can to make a permanent renting class.
Right.
And coming from property management, there were so many people that just, got bled dry, man, because every year you give a rent increase, and their cost of living isn't going up, and their wages aren't going up at the same rate. So.
And the problem is people go, well, I'll just, I'm going to go get a house now. You can't. After 20 years of renting, for most people, you've already priced out of what you were able to do. Yeah. You need to start earlier. I know it seems like these numbers are horrible, but guess what? They get worse. What I mean by that, values are going to continue to go up, and everybody's like, this is unsustainable. There's no way they're going to keep going. Yeah, we say that, and then they keep going up. And so. Yeah,
that's what they said in San Jose, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now the only place that they're kind of going down is San Francisco, because nobody wants to live there.
Yeah. Wait till they take enough and they clean it up, and then
the right person's going to get pissed, and they're going to call somebody, and all of a sudden everything's going to change.
Yeah.
BlackRock. Actually, the BlackRock is like shoveling in all the people there so they can start buying up those properties.
It sounds like a pump and dump to me, man. Honestly, like just a long term.
No, what I mean is they're busting up all the homeless people to put them into San Francisco so that they could buy up that property cheap. Is what I was saying.
Oh,
you follow me?
It seems like something fishy's going on, man. Because it's like
stores are leaving, other places are leaving.
So the mall defaulted.
Right. Yeah. Well, the thing is, then all of a sudden someone's going to come in, be the savior, pick it up, and all of a sudden it'll be back to where it was, and now they're charging high rents. it's going to happen. So, it's a 3-year cycle. Like when people are leaving San Francisco and the Bay Area to come this way, I said it's a 3-year cycle. We're getting close to that 3-year cycle, and a lot of people are looking to move back, not San Francisco, but everywhere else around there.
Like I say, are you telling me they're going to clean up the Tenderloin too?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You ever spend any time there?
No.
Yeah, scary.
Yeah, I don't. And that's all big cities have issues. Period. No matter where you're at. So we have issues here in Modesto, not as big because we're not as big, but they're around. They're still around. There's little places. Sure. Yeah. Think about how many people were underneath the bridge downtown, for so long, and then the trash they leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's never a good. We need to figure something out, but the way they're doing it right now, spending billions of dollars in California and not getting anywhere on it is not how we do it. All right.
I don't disagree.
I mean, that's where we're at. That's our local stuff. Yeah. But if you're a vet and you're looking to buy a home, looking to get a mortgage, yes, these numbers are pretty high, but your numbers is $300 to, $200 to $300 cheaper than somebody with FHA Correct. Or conventional because of the mortgage insurance. And so now still is the time. There's ways to work around this. There's ways to do other stuff. And that's all we're trying to get at. Absolutely. So reach out to us, and we can walk you through that program and help you out. All right. Everybody make it a great day. Bobby, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Ed.